Miles, we just finished talking about our winners. Now let's get to losers. And I'm just gonna start where, if for anyone that didn't watch the first part, we talked about the winners in NFL free agency so far, and Miles had the San Francisco 49ers. I had the Chicago Bears. My loser is the San Francisco 49ers, and for the simple fact of what Miles said and a little bit more. The 49ers finally realized the mistake they made by keeping Eric Armstead and letting DeForest Buckner go. They finally realized their mistake, and Javon Kinlaw, I don't know. I haven't seen him play. That's just me. And then if and note, Javon Hargrave, he's older than DeForest Buckner. DeForest Buckner is currently 28 years old, and it feels like he's been in the league for what, how many years? So that
Yeah,
kind of says it right there. And then my other thing is that I understand getting Javon Hargrave helps their defensive line. That part I have no problem with. What I have a bigger issue with is your secondary. I felt if they were gonna go all out in free agency, I would have gone after CJ Gardner Johnson to replace Jimmy Ward, who eventually now is with the Texans, and try to get another corner on the outside to help Travarius Ward. That to me would have been a stronger move because I'm like, your front seven is fine. And the scheme that you have all the time, it always works. So that part has never been the issue. What my issue has always been and my concern is the secondary. Because I feel like their secondary is like okay. I'm not going to say they're great. I'm not going to say they're good. I'm going to say they're okay because they've been beat a lot. And that the Eagles wide receivers, they did everything they wanted on them. So that's, to me personally, I felt that's what they should have targeted. I felt they should have targeted secondary. And then to lose, obviously it's their right tackle, but still you lost a tackle that is a good tackle. And because yeah, right tackles are easier to find than left tackles. But still, once you have a good offensive lineman, you really don't want to let it go because whoever you get to replace him, you're going to realize how much you missed the other one if the other one's not living up to expectations.
Yeah, but it does give you the opportunity to get a little bit cheaper. And I mean, depending on what really happens with their quarterback position, like if they stick with Purdy, they're gonna have like we talk about having the rookie quarterback on his rookie deal. He's not guaranteed over $1 million for 3 years. From
Yeah,
3 years from now, he will make $1 million. That will be his cap hit for them. So I do think they're going to have a lot of flexibility. I also like the Hargrave signing because you do sign him from the Eagles, a rival that kept you from making it to the Super Bowl last year. And I do agree with you. My only thing is that I feel like we've had questions about their secondary for a couple years, and I know that losing Ward to the Texans as he followed D'Amico Ryans over to Houston from San Francisco. But I feel like we've had questions about their secondary for a couple of years because it's kind of like running back with them where they just kind of plug in these guys and they're like, all right, we'll figure it out as we go. And my thing is like, all right, if it's just average secondary play, the way you can make that better is by having a defensive line that can, really get after the quarterback. And, to your point, it just depends on the matchup, because the Eagles had a really good offensive line. They were able to limit what the 49ers were doing as far as a pass rush. But yeah, it does, bring back some bad memories of trading DeForest Buckner, the Kinlaw pick not working out, and then now having to go and make up for that mistake with getting Hargrave, and not to mention that Bosa, I believe his extension
it's going
kicks
to
in
kick in.
starting this season coming up. So that's a lot of money invested into your defensive line, but I mean that's how they've been successful ever since Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch got there. So I just liked it in terms of the fact that they were sticking to their blueprint of how they've been successful the last few years. It's not like they went out and it would have been amazing, but it's not like they went out and signed Lamar and they were like, all right, now
Oh,
we're here. Now we're we put to bed the quarterback questions. But for me, my biggest loser is the Cincinnati Bengals.
yeah, they lost a lot of pieces.
They lose both of their safeties, which I think is
That's
it,
big.
it's a really big thing, and especially Jesse Bates. I mean, I think on PFF he was the number two ranked free agent that they had right behind Lamar Jackson. He was number three on the athletics list, right behind Lamar and Javon Hargrave, who we just talked about. He signed a 4-year, $64 million deal with the Atlanta Falcons in day one of free agency, and then they go ahead and are unable to bring back Von Bell, which I think is going to be uh, a very steep learning curve for them. And, it's very interesting because the Bengals, I don't know how we should really look at them because they had the run with Andy Dalton and AJ Green. And then, it seemed like they kept those guys around for a while. It was, Andy Dalton, AJ Green, and then on the defensive line, they had Geno Atkins, they had Carlos Dunlap, and it seemed like those guys were Bengals forever. And now you have
They're kind of all over the place.
well, now you have Cincinnati losing in the AFC Championship game last year, losing in the Super Bowl the year before that. And now it's like, okay, there's kind of a target on your back. Like teams are going to start looking at your players a little bit harder, seeing what makes you successful. And Jesse Bates goes to the Atlanta Falcons, who I still don't think are really going to be competitive next year, but
They're not.
they recognize the talent and they went after him. And then you go after Von Bell, who's a guy that the Bengals drafted, re-signed him after his rookie contract expired. But now, even though he's 30 years old, he went and got a multi-year deal. And with the Bengals, that I think they have to make a decision. Like, what are we going to do as a franchise? Are we going to try to win, on the margins, through the draft, finding under the radar free agents because we believe so much in the quarterback? And I think they potentially just lost their two starting safeties from last year. The T. Higgins situation needs to be figured out sooner rather than later, whether they're going to extend him, they're going to trade him, let him walk for nothing. So I am interested to see what they do. They did draft Dax Hill out of Michigan last year, who is a safety, but I really think Jesse Bates is one of the best safeties we have in the league. So even if Dax Hill is good, I don't expect him to, produce at the same level as Bates. And then you have to figure out what you're going to do as far as replacing Von Bell. And this is a secondary that me and you have made fun of because, they've started
They
Eli
talk a
Apple.
lot.
They've started Eli Apple for the last 2 years. And, are you able to start Eli Apple for the last 2 years because you have two safeties that are snatched up on day one of free agency?
Yeah. I mean, there are some safeties they could still go after for. I think Jabril Peppers can help them. I think Jabril Peppers can at least bring something what a Von Bell has done. And then if they're trying to look for like maybe a ball hawk, that's gonna be tough. I
I
mean,
mean,
Adrian
go
Amos
after
is out
the
there.
CJ Gardner Johnsons of the world.
The
E
Cincinnati's too cheap. They're not gonna do that.
Even Marcus Epps, who I think is a low key underrated safety, was
Oh
already
well,
snatched up by
didn't
the Raiders.
Marcus Epps
Yeah,
go to
he was
the
already snatched
Raiders?
up by the Raiders. So it's
Yeah,
not even like, some of these underrated guys are there. You have Terrell Edmonds, the brother of Tremaine, who just signed with the Bears,
that
who is a
one
free
could
agent.
be something, but it's the only thing I feel like Cincinnati's saving their money this offseason to pay Joe Burrow because I think they want to get that contract done as fast as possible because the contracts for quarterbacks they keep going up and up.
Yeah, and the most prudent way right now is to be able to get it done now, so you don't have to exceed the whoever just signed the last contract, which is what the sticking point is now between Lamar and the Ravens because he wants more than what Deshaun got, and Deshaun
Well,
got
in
more
terms
than
of
what
guaranteed
Kyler got.
money, but that's a whole different subject for a different day. But like I do like your point with overall with Cincinnati because they did lose a couple of starters and there's a lot of question marks now. And then we still also have to even look at their offensive line still because they did bring in some guys, but it was a lot of like 1 year short term contracts trying to win the Super Bowl this year. And it hasn't worked out because this offseason they kind of have to get the Joe Burrow deal done. And they kind of have to wait next offseason just to get Jamar Chase's deal done. And then they have to figure out now with their whole tight end situation because Hayden Hurst is a free agent. So there's a
And
lot going on.
not to mention they got to see what plays out with Joe Mixon,
Joe
being that
Mixon
he's been
too.
in the
That's right, his
cycle the last
situation.
couple of years. So the last couple of weeks. So it'll be an interesting time in Cincinnati. I don't think they're on the brink of disaster or anything, but losing your two starting safeties in free agency, even though you did spend a first round pick on a safety last year, so hopefully you do have some sort of backup plan there. And then, like you said, there's a lot of guys coming up that have deserved the contract that is coming for them.
Yep, that's the point of free agency. Time for guys who have been waiting to get that life-changing money. Time for them to get paid. But hey, that's very good. Guys, we are going to bring more content out for you soon. We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff. We're going to have another show. Well, we're going to try to have another show this week, and we're going to have one show dedicated to our hometown team, the Miami Dolphins. because they made some moves. They also kind of took an approach like one team that won the Super Bowl not that long ago, but we're gonna get some other people's thoughts outside of ours. We're gonna try to have a guest for that episode, and we're excited. So, guys, tune in for the next time we are on live on YouTube, either Monday or Friday at 2:30 or 3:30 p.m.